I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I am Andrew DeWolf.
And I'm Brianna Jones.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew and Bree to like musical theater. And today, Andrew, we have a very special guest.
Oh, it's always the special guests. They're here all the time.
Yeah, they're always here. It's always the specialist guest. We only have special guests. Please welcome our super special guest, producer and content creator, who you may recognize as the host of Ineffable, a Cats movie podcast, and as Juno Greenpoint on D&D, it's Joel Arnold! Yay! Yay! Applause, add streamers and all that. One balloon falls down.
Many lanterns go up.
Oh,
I see what you did there. Man, he's already gotten it.
on point.
Quick wit and all
Just
that.
quick with it. Oh, man. I'm not going to be able to keep up.
I mean, well, don't tangle yourself up.
Oh!
You see that?
My God. This is why we get the special guests.
Exactly.
This
I
is
can
what
never.
makes them so special.
Well, I've already run out, so it's downhill from here.
You don't have to let them
all
know.
right.
I mean, you could just pretend you don't get them stored up.
yeah, just don't show your hand.
Don't show your hand.
We will never call your bluff. In case you haven't picked up on the subtle hints, this week we are talking about Tangled, a musical cruise line experience. Cue the music, Bree.
7 a.m. the usual morning lineup. Starting the chores and sweep till the floor's all clean. Polish and wax, do laundry, then mop and shine up. Sweep again, and by then it's like 7:15, and so I'll read a book, or maybe 2 or 3. I'll add a few new paintings to my gallery. I'll play guitar and knit and cook, and basically just wonder, when will my life begin?
Tangled the musical has music by Alan Menken and lyrics by Glenn Slater, with a book by Dan Fogelman based on Tangled, the 2010 animated film of the same name. The musical premiered on board the Disney Magic of the Disney Cruise. What the fuck? This is literally, that is how they wrote it, because I just stole this off their website. It premiered, okay. The musical premiered aboard the Magic of Disney cruise line.
No.
What?
No, it's the Disney Magic. That's the name of the ship. The Disney Magic.
They should put a comma in their fucking byline.
the
shouldn't
Disney
they?
cruise
Description
line.
like slapdash. I couldn't imagine.
It's not. It's not the Disney Magic of the Disney. That's.
Aboard the Disney Magic on the Disney Cruise Line in
my
November
God.
of 2015, featuring 3 new songs written by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater, the plot of which, it tells the story of a lost young princess with magical long blonde hair who yearns to leave her secluded tower. Against her mother's wishes, she accepts the aid of an intruder to take her out into the world, which she has never seen. All right, done with all that prerequisites out the side. Joel, you wanted us to talk about this. I want
Yes.
you to try to tell us why.
Well, I liked the movie, and I had not seen the cruise line experience before. So I asked myself this question as well, because and maybe this is just me, because I've never been on a Disney cruise line, never seen a Disney cruise experience, but I kind of estimated they'd be able to do a little more. And
A little less,
instead
maybe?
of having sort of a pale imitation of, and only conjuring the movie you know so well and making you think like, well, I'd rather be doing that. But the songs are still good. I'll say that. The songs are still good.
So you're leaning negative with this
leaning
cruise line
negative.
experience. Oh my goodness.
I feel like you can't lean too negative though, because it's still basically the movie. But
Right.
they did cut some stuff, and it's like shorter, and
I was impressed they could get it all in an hour, what they did.
I mean, it's like the Frozen Hyperion show in like Disney World. It's like, whatever. It'll kill a few hours, or like a few hours in line, then 1 hour at the show. It'll kill 3 hours in line, 1 hour at the show, then your entire day is wasted.
perfect.
Yeah, Disney magic.
I have been on the Disney Magic, Disney Cruise Line. I don't remember it, but it was a very long time ago. I remember it being red, and there was like a water slide. That's
I'm
it.
glad you took vigorous notes while you were there.
I did.
I don't think I'll ever be on a Disney cruise line, especially after the world pandemic we're on. I don't want to be on a metal tube with anyone.
That's a good call. I'm sure the cruise line musical industry is really hurting with COVID.
I mean, yeah, but I know people that worked on Disney Cruise Lines. Emily Clark's husband, he was Buzz Lightyear in the Disney Cruise Line Toy Story musical. There are that's how a lot of people get their like stage union cards. Like that's how you get started in the musical theater industry. It's a good playing ground where you get to like try things out, and you get to be a little green, and no one really cares because you know what? Screw it. This is a part of the cruise line. I'm drunk, and my kid liked it. It's not like you're not going in there expecting the Lion King Broadway musical. So
That's true. This is maybe where my expectations should have been adjusted. I was like, oh, they're Disney. They're doing it up.
Disney. They got that Disney money. They're going to throw it at it. And
the ship is called the Disney Magic. Bring
the
them.
Disney
I will
Magic
say, though,
of the Disney. I mean,
I got to give it up for the horse technology, though. That horse looked like the horse in the 3D animated movie. That was very impressive puppet work.
it was a bit weird that the back legs never touched the ground. But outside of that, I was okay with the horse. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the horrifying like reindeer puppet they have on Frozen on Broadway, which looks just terrible.
Yeah. Oh boy. Should we talk about the movie?
You had a senior moment.
I had a
there.
senior moment. Should we talk about the movie like a little bit?
I would love to talk about the movie. Joel, when did you first see the movie? Did you like experience it when it came out, or did it take some time?
Oh, it took some time. I saw it post Frozen.
Oh, God.
I think I just missed it. And when Frozen, like Tangled was sort of the first step, but then Frozen kind of really brought back the Disney princess era when Disney was kind of taking us away from that after Princess and the Frog. And so I was like, okay, I'll catch up on this Tangled thing. I never could figure out, like, I think I connected that it was Rapunzel, but I was like, why is it called Tangled? And then I just really enjoyed it. I was really surprised that I'd kind of missed it, and it felt a little underrated. And I think maybe we've kind of grown in our appreciation of it, but I think I like it even more than Frozen.
I think it just straight up is better than Frozen, yeah.
I'm gonna agree there. The only downfall I have for it is it should have been 2D animated. It was supposed to be 2D animated, and then Princess and the Frog underperformed, and they were like, "No boy will see anything with Princess. Change this from Rapunzel to Tangled, and change the Ice Queen to Frozen. Everything will become adverb. Jack and the Beanstalk, gigantic. Now cancel that."
Yeah, and the advertising, I think, really, I remember, like, played up the adventure aspect and less of, like, she's a princess, but, you know, not focus on that.
They did not focus. They did not show a single song in any of the trailers. They played like pop music and tried to convince you it was like Shrek. They wanted it to look like Shrek.
It's not like Shrek though. Like it actually isn't.
I mean, it kind of is. And a lot of that goes to the writer Dan Fogelman, who would later go on to create and write Gallivant, which I think is very, very good and underrated, and has that same sense of humor. I think a lot of what works about this comes from his like very, very acute sense of humor and great screenplay. If we didn't have that energy and that kind of mix of comedic, because maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of the pre-Renaissance and Renaissance Disney animated films were the comedic characters were in one character, and then everyone else played it dead serious. Whereas this was like the characters are funny because they're characters, and this was like the first time where it wasn't relying on like Jason Alexander coming in and being funny. And I think that is more or less what has helped them figure out their new identity in this new renaissance I have. Frozen really took that and ran with it, and then you've got other things that are just more comedic based, like Wreck-It Ralph, which I don't like as well. And Moana, I think, is like the best one, where it's like, yeah, the characters are funny, but you can still emotionally connect with it. So I think that is the biggest thing that Tangled has brought to like the Disney lineup, is a sense of humor from the characters, as opposed to like, comedian improvises, go on Robin Williams, make us laugh.
Yeah, I think that's super true, and it manages to capture kind of the Renaissance 2D feel of adventure and romance, but with making the humor come from character, and with kind of more, especially in this, with what I didn't sort of see before, but like nuanced psychological themes of in relationships. Like it feels adult and real in that way.
And let's think about this for a second. I'm going to throw this out there for you guys.
Yeah.
This is the last Disney movie with a proper Disney villain, since, or at least Disney animated musical.
Yeah, and the villain's, not bad.
The villain isn't like a evil person like Facilier or something. They are a character with relations and a purpose in the story and narrative with, their own goals and aren't the greatest person. But they are nuanced, which it was new to this, where you kind of are like, am I supposed to like her?
Yeah.
Kind of hot.
Ooh, maybe you, but
It's Donna Murphy. I mean, come on, guys.
Jess really likes the part where she turns into an old lady and then falls off a building. He was getting off on that.
Oh, yeah.
Just love when a woman vanishes into dust.
Yeah.
I love it when a lizard murders a woman. It's my favorite part of any children's film.
Yeah, Pascal is savage, and I missed him in the Disney Cruise Line experience.
Doesn't
Yes,
exist.
it is a choice, but also I think it's the right choice. I don't think it was a bad choice to make.
Can you imagine the tiny puppet they could have made? They have the big horse puppet. They could have made a little tiny puppet. It would have been cute.
I think it's time to return to the Disney Cruise Line experience for a moment, because I am going to be the dissenting voice here. I kind of like it. I was kind of into it.
So
I'm like, you know what? It's nice that they're not relying on projections, which is a lot of what they focus on. I like the use of puppets. I think it's done very well. I like the choices in costuming where it's not replication of the original animated film. They kind of do their own thing, which is always something I've appreciated with Disney when they turn things from screen to stage. And I think that the vocalists did their best. Performing wise, you can't really live up to the voice actors, and that's a difficult job for anyone. But I think the woman that plays Mother Gothel in this specific recording is fantastic and holds her own with Donna Murphy, who is like a Broadway legend. So I really want to give them their plaudits, saying, you put effort in when you didn't have to, especially when you compare it to things like Finding Nemo the musical, which we've covered previously, or Toy Story the musical, which is fine but not great. This, I think, stands above all that, and also has the chance to step back and be like, you know what, maybe this doesn't need to go to Broadway. Maybe this could be just its own thing where we're not going to ruin the pacing by trying to reframe the entire storyline, so Let It Go ends Act 1, and we suddenly have a 2-hour musical that just makes you feel like you can't sit through it anymore. Like Frozen the musical,
They
which is
made
very,
it
very
short.
bad.
They made it it's under an hour.
And it's a breeze to watch. It is not a slog to get through.
Somehow they added songs too, which is... I don't really know if I have very positive opinions of the new songs. I don't really remember them that much, but they're there.
I liked... There were a couple of reprises that were not in the movie, but are on the movie's soundtrack that I really liked. And then I think I was kind of just neutral with the songs that they added. I think, like the one at the beginning, you kind of need a story setup since everything else in the movie was visual, and it gives more... I'm glad that there's the context to kind of do everything really fast with the kingdom and the princess and the curse and the flower. And yeah, I will say that I also like that they were able to, in the same way that the movie does, kind of like song and singing is like central to the story. So that hour is spent a lot of it singing, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of things that I imagine a lot of film producers don't realize when they turn their films from screen to stage is singing actually saves time more than adds to it. You can get a lot of exposition out in a song. That's a lot of the reason why Les Mis the musical is the only one that effectively tells that story, because they save a lot of it just by truncating it through song.
Yeah.
And they do it very well in that opening number, which I think it was called what is it called? It was like I'm under arrest or something like that, or like that's Flynn Rider's song.
Wanted Man, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, he's a wanted man, wanted by the police and apparently by women. They really play up in the cruise line version like that. He is a ladies' man specifically, and I thought in the movie he's kind of a wannabe, like a little bit of a loser, like suave but not that suave.
They wanted them to be like a Gaston type, but like nice.
They wanted to use a
Don't we
female
all?
ensemble and elements of the staging. I'm willing to bet.
Shut up, Jess, okay? I don't, you know what? You don't have to butt in with that kind of talk.
You know, though, it did give us like women brutes in the bar scene when in the
Yep.
movie we're just like it's a bunch of dudes. I appreciated the representation there.
Dudes
Yeah,
aren't the
it's great,
only
and-
ones who can be brutes. Like,
And I'm pretty sure they're doubling up as princesses at the Magic of Disney Cruise Line Magic.
Magic
Dinner seats.
Disney Cruise Line.
How many times can we work magic into this title?
Oh, boy.
All right. So, Joel, when did you watch this? Because they just recently put this out on YouTube. Was it just like a curiosity watch? It's like, oh, I like Tangled the movie, so might as well give it a watch.
Yeah, well, I had just no context for Disney Cruise Line musicals, and when my girlfriend told me about the existence of these shows, and I only watched this yesterday, so it's very fresh. Unfortunately for me, but I just had seen that it was on YouTube. I was like, oh, it's there. It's an hour. I can see like a thumbnail with a horse that looks like Maximus. Okay, let's do it. And yeah, I think maybe it's my expectations, because it can't be the medium can't capture, she can't use her hair in ways that defy physics on the stage because they defy physics. But I think if I start to reframe it, and I think I'm a parent with kids on a cruise line, I'm a little drunk, they need to be entertained. I'm starting to see very much the appeal, because it relies so much on your knowledge of the movie that it's kind of like the highlight reel.
This is a
playing the
very
hits.
expensive show to see, though. I mean, how much did Disney Magic Cruise Line cost to get on? And I mean, that's like 3 days of your time.
You're not paying 3 days just to watch Tangled the musical spectacular on the Disney Magic Cruise Line of Magic.
What if I really wanted to see this show? I mean, that's the only way I could see it, except for on YouTube, which isn't live.
no, it's-
so.
Well, the
And
thing
it's
is,
free though. It's very kind that they put it out for free.
yeah, that was pretty great. They wanted to release some of their theater pieces, and I think they knew this would never be like a Broadway designed musical. Like, it's not hefty as like a Frozen or
There's not enough
a Lion
story
King.
to tell here to put it into like a 2-hour show, and you're not gonna
I
put.
feel like the movie itself has pacing issues, anyways.
You're not gonna get a 1-hour Broadway show. That's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, and what they do condense, like I feel so bereft losing what I think is the moral crisis at the heart of the film, Maximus reconsidering who he is allied with, and like, can he help a criminal? But also it'd be really hard to do that without like an animated horse face, like really getting there and being like, what do I do? Do I let this man go? like he's,
You gotta
I don't
get
know,
that
Valjean or
yeah, you gotta get that Javert suicide scene for Maximus.
You get the war horse. What is that prop doing? Just bring that over to the Disney Cruise Line, throw a couple folks, and get it running around the stage.
Horses can't go on cruise ships.
It's a war. Have you not seen the war horse play? It's like this
Oh,
elaborate
okay.
puppet where it has like these facial expressions, and it takes like 20 people to work it, and people came in their pants to seeing that, and then Spielberg made a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And I was impressed that it was one guy in Maximus the horse, and like operating the face while he's running around. I might say in this particular performance, Maximus may be more charming than Flynn Rider. I don't know. How did you feel about the Flynn Rider of this show?
I don't like to criticize specific actors because I know he's probably just a guy trying to like go about his life and be.
Yeah, he's on a. I immediately
Have you ever tried
regret my
singing?
criticism.
Have you ever tried singing on a cruise ship? I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm not saying that, but he's no Zachary Levi. I think like that's just such a high level of like voice acting, singing, and all that, where you've got this fella that just doesn't live up to those standards. You need to like get that perfect like chiseled face, and he just looks like a guy, and he can sing okay for a Disney Cruise Line, and you know what? That's fine. And I don't want to shit on this poor guy just trying to make a living, get his union card.
All right. What about the jokes that they cut? I mean, we lost the nose gag on the wanted posters. We lost the frying pan gag. I mean, Like these are tragic losses that we just don't have in this cruise line stage show.
I mean, I miss a lot of the jokes, but then again, I appreciate the fourth wall breaks. I really like the fourth wall breaks and how they're interpreted. I feel like that's one of the narration from the film turned into like talking directly to the audience as a character really was an effective change in a way that those jokes land even better now. So there is a give and take, push and pull with that.
Yeah, and Flynn Rider, Eugene Fitzherbert. I feel like him going into the audience, kind of like sitting right down, charming the women. I feel like it's reaching towards a good joke there. No, I'll tell you, I really did like miss.
We're heading in that direction.
I missed the frying pan too.
I just saw I wanted to have a complete Tangled record, so I just saw the little animated short from the movie that they put in theaters like later, and they're selling frying pans as novelty items, which I think is very fun. But it kind of speaks to like how the village changes. Like later in that short, like they all know the story, and in this one, I thought it was really interesting that they all know the story and like sing about how the princess. Like the festival's for the princess, they're waiting for the princess. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that the townsfolk kind of were invested the same way that the parents are invested. Almost like usually after 18 years, you gotta give up hope. I thought it was just sort of a nice town festival, but everyone there it worked out, but they seemed very delusional. I will say, happy but delusional.
None of them realize that death exists and that this child may not still be alive. They all assume they're coming back.
I mean, John Benet Ramsey still hasn't been solved. So, like, it's not the wackiest thing in the world, like, to think about. Like, if a little girl went missing, like, I imagine that a town, especially if it was, like, a princess. So I'm trying to put myself, like, big political figure's child goes missing. And they have this holiday for it. I can imagine everyone's like, oh, yeah, we all know that one.
They probably have to know it, or the king has him executed. I mean, who knows?
Exactly. It's like if you're the one that doesn't know and talk about this, you're in trouble.
Yeah, when you really think about like the inner workings of that kingdom, is it all like geared around propping up this poor parents' belief that their child will come back? But I mean, maybe this is in a world where these fairy tale stories, they really work out, and so they're like, yeah, we just keep it up, keep up the lights. It's gonna happen one day. And I will say, like I don't know, the emotional, and like I agree that the actress playing Mother Gothel is really good, and like she's really good at the gaslighting, the manipulation, but not so good on like maybe as a narcissist is like the details. Like, don't tell the daughter her birthday is the day when all the lights go up. Maybe don't stay so close that she can find her way to the kingdom. Don't knock over that basket. It's a lot of things.
There's a lot of like things there that they have to keep in because of the fairy tale it's connected to. Like, I mean, if we're gonna go to it, like the prince should be blinded by the end of this, she should be forced to bear twins in a swamp.
Oh, Disney never does the cool version of these. My goodness.
Well, they did do that because Into the Woods exists, so I guess you're wrong.
They set a toe in there.
Yeah,
they did a part of it.
They did just enough where they could get away with it being Disney. I agree with you though. I like those like nitpicky things where you gotta be like, all right, it's a fairy tale logic. Gotta step back and try to think about it, but you can't not think about it. But am I wrong here? Everyone kind of knew his Mother Gothel, and like they saw her be the one that stole the baby, if I remember in the animated film. And they're just like, well, we can't find her.
If I love anything, I love a hidden like cave passage in a forest that leads to a valley that no one can find. Those are just the best things.
It doesn't make much
stories.
sense. Like, can't they just climb over the rocks and see the valley? Like, you can only go through the cave. If you don't go through the cave, you can't see it. It doesn't exist.
Maybe she was like a witch, like an actual witch, and she had like slight magic power. She just can't live forever, and she was like this magic spell around the area, and like that could have worked.
I feel like she might be an actual witch of some sort, because like How else does she know this rhyme that she's supposed to say to this flower to get immortal life? Like,
I mean, I've got my headcanon, then I have actual reality. My headcanon is that's a family secret, and then one of the children has to murder another family member to get that. Like, you have to murder your father, and then you're the one that takes that magic. And then when you have a child, they will eventually kill you, and they will take that magic.
okay, what's the actual reality?
I mean, probably it's just like, what are you talking about? It's a Disney movie. Are you an idiot?
Wow, thanks. Very cool.
Dan Fogelman, reach out to us. Tell us if either of those answers are the correct one.
I mean, now that I think about it, yeah, she would have had more magic. I mean, but yeah, she really has just the kind of the one deal, and kind of is just tied all of her hopes and future. I mean, and she's pretty good at it. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, usually you've got like a step parent who's out and out evil, like Cinderella's stepmother or Frollo from Hunchback.
Parents.
And here, I just like love. I love how like you've got, you know, it's gaslighty. She's like laying on the criticisms and be like, but of course I'm teasing, and like the way that those lyrics are written in the song is just so perfect because it's got none of the warmth of love, but like all the little signifiers of like, of course this is how people who love each other, you know, I love you most, I love you mostest, that kind of thing.
I agree. It's one of the things that kind of make this a little bit more nuanced than, you know, Frozen's If Only There Was Someone Who Loved You, which just feels like,
oh, is that what it is? Okay.
You just lied to me, movie. I see what you did there. Oh, you just told us a bunch of falsehoods. Have either of you looked at the Frozen TV show at all?
You mean Tangled?
Animated. Tangled TV show.
I have not.
I've seen art.
Incredible. I think it is better than the movie it is based on, in all honesty, because it has the time. They bring back all the voice actors, the same songwriters, same writers, all come back and expand into like this adventure story that spans like her handmaidens like becoming evil, the hair returning because of like evil magic. Like, it is very dark. Like, the nerd character, like just like the geeky kid that has a crush on one of the characters, eventually just becomes an evil incel. Like, it gets dark, and I appreciate what it did, and it does. It goes into beautiful Megamind territory, and it has great songs on par with all the ones in here. And it finds a good way to like be like, yeah, the happily ever after happened, but also we have more story to tell with those characters, while still being happy, that throws rocks into their lives without them being like a miserable family unit.
Well, okay, you've completely sold me. I will watch this now. That sounds great.
I think everyone should watch it. And no one watched it when it was on Disney Channel. Now it's on Disney Plus. I remember right when the quarantine started, I turned it on and I was like, oh my, no one told me to watch this show.
Now I'm gonna have to check it out because I actually really like the movie, and obviously the Cruise musical has really sold me on it as well. So
the Magic Cruise musical experience.
Yeah, the magic of the Disney Cruise Line.
So if you get anything out of this recording session, please go watch Tangled the series. It is so good. It starts rough because it is like kind of like aping on what it came before, but when it gets rolling, it gets rolling. Speaking of other people's opinions, it's time for our favorite segment of the show where we compare our opinions to those of the New York theater critics and others, because this is not a New York theater show.
This is an international show.
It is a cruise line show. It's time for previews. Cue the music.
It's time for previews. It's time for previews.
All right, Bree, what do we got today?
This is the only time they let me out of the castle to speak. Previews.
Someone else's words.
Damn. You're not even allowed to have your own voice. You have the voice of Ben Brantley.
Not today.
No, Ben Brantley did not bring his opinions to Tangled, the cruise musical experience.
Ben Brantley does not have that Disney Cruise Line money.
Oh my God, is that Ben Brantley back there? Do we hear him? Is he that angry at us?
It is. Yeah, I keep him locked up here. He barks a lot.
Man. We only let him come out when he wants to watch Godspell or whatever.
Or whatever, yes. Okay. let's get into these reviews. James Norman of the UK's Independent said of the cruise line production, limited to a 60-minute runtime, the creative team behind the production have set themselves a difficult task. The film is streamlined in order to work to its tight schedule, yet it nevertheless manages to perform a whistle-stop tour of the film's most loved musical numbers, as well as including 3 new songs from Alan Menken and Glenn Slater, the duo behind the film's original score. These new additions ring with the unmistakable Disney flair unique to each of their productions, meaning that Flower of Gold, Wanted Man, and When She Returns feel instantly at home amidst fan favorites. Of course, the show's scale means that cutbacks are rampant throughout the production. The most notable of these comes in the absence of Pascal, Rapunzel's pet, chameleon.
He's noticed.
Yes, he is.
The critics remembered Pascal.
Pascal erasure.
Oh no! He is a chameleon, so you just might not be able to see him.
Oh,
just be
he
in
was
the
there the whole time.
He's
Just
on
didn't
the
see him.
If they were smart, that's
He's a
what
part
they
of the
would have
set.
done. So Rapunzel's pet chameleon, who gained near cult status of the film's release due to his ability to transform seemingly into any merchandise that the company could think of.
Brilliant. Biting satire there, James Norman.
Yes. It felt strange watching a show which is so close to pantomime in the height of summer. Yet once I understood that Tangled is effectively amateur dramatics with a lot of money thrown at it, I was able to see, quote, see the light. Despite how hairy the show had a potential to be, and let me tell you, it's a show with a lot of hair,
Cringe.
the Disney musical is perfectly suitable for a 60-minute feel-good mood boost.
So,
You know-
tell us how you really feel, amateur dramatics with a lot of money thrown at it.
You mean any like Ann Arbor like theater production? Pioneer High School?
Oh, boy.
Man, fuck Pioneer. Sorry.
Local politics aside.
Yeah, no. Wait, Joel, you're from Michigan, aren't you?
Yeah, that was one I felt like just for me. I was like, oh, I know a Pioneer.
Biting
Yeah, I went there for a little bit.
satire.
It went bad. It was not a fun place to be. Yeah. But do we agree with that review? I feel like there's not much to disagree with there, except for maybe the puns at the end.
The puns, and I don't know, it feels like it doesn't even know how it feels about the show. It's like half like, oh, it's fine if you forgive it enough, and then half like, oh, it's actually pretty good.
I can
Yeah,
say,
it kind of gets at that like state of mind. It's like it's good if you can get there, and I think that's a little bit of what I feel. Where I would agree. Like, okay, these things that they've added are good. It doesn't measure up, but can I really fault myself for experiencing that? Like, I sat there an hour, I walked out, I had a good time. Was it really so bad? Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious if there's one that's like overly positive. I want to know like a child's opinion.
I mean, we all want to know children.
Yeah, we want
Yeah,
that kid
we
in
got
the
one more
rainbow
review.
cardigan to smile at it.
Oh, callbacks. I mean, the only thing I disagree with here, or I get a vibe from this review right here, that it was mid-pandemic, and this is a theater reviewer being like, this is the kind of theater I need to get something out. I need my commission.
This is someone who does not want to watch a cruise line production.
Yeah.
What they
Someone
need is someone who like lives on the Disney magic and only sees cruise line productions, because this cast I think is doing like they do multiple shows, right? Like they do a Tangled and the next night they're doing Toy Story something else. So we need a critic who just judges it only by the wide genre of cruise line musicals.
I feel like if that person existed, though, they would be paid by Disney to do that and would be incredibly biased because of it.
It's just something crossed my mind as I was thinking, like, if we get to choppy water, do you think they cancel the shows, or do they just like have to try to dance while
I believe
being
they
thrown
do,
all about?
actually. I've been on cruise ships,
Okay.
and I think they do cancel shows if the water's too choppy.
Wow. I mean, imagine, like, that would be terrifying. It's terrifying enough to perform every night, to, like, go to a theater, but to live on a place where you perform every night and it shakes and swirls and you're seasick the entire time, that on top of just, like, nerves about performing, God, it sounds like hell. Good on you, Tangled Cruise Line performers. A plus,
Yeah, really,
everyone.
like the idea of having a theater, I was like, okay, these things, I've never been on a Disney cruise line, much less a big old boat cruise, where it's like, but yeah, you can have ballrooms and theaters and things are relatively stable. But yeah, I would not want to see, if they were attempting something more complicated, like the hair, they're doing like Spider-Man turn off the dark level stunts with the hair.
Oh, no.
That could get dangerous with the water.
I mean, they are using ropes, and there's some stuff in this where they do some stunts.
Like him just floating down, like all that Missioning Impossible-ing down.
What about the part where they are like in the high water and they're like on ropes floating around?
That was pretty cool. The way they used the technology there.
Like,
I'm just glad it wasn't projections, in all honesty. I just keep thinking about, like, the Little Mermaid show at Disneyland, where they just project the movie for half it, then an actor comes out, sings a song, then they project some of the more of the movie.
Oh, no, yeah, okay. When you know that that's what you could have gotten, then I'm more thankful.
well, I mean,
Not to be, like, I don't mean to be,
Jess, you're
a
comparing-
Tangled the cruise line defender.
these are
but-
two different tiers, though. You're comparing theme park shows to cruise line shows. And I mean, that's
Oh, my God. That's apples and oranges right
apples
there.
and oranges, yeah.
It's Disney magic on the water to Disney magic in Florida. And I know I'd rather be in the middle of the ocean than in Florida.
Anyone would rather be in the middle of the ocean than in Florida.
Speaking of being in the middle of the ocean, we've got one more review left. Bree, what's this next one say?
It's from the Princess blog. Why?
Because if this were made for anyone, it would be for Lisa Dawn at the Princess blog. Who else would be the one to really dive into Tangled, the cruise line, the
Okay.
musical experience?
Well, I guess
I'm going to go to the Princess blog right now. I need to
It's,
see this site that you found this at.
it's theprincessblog.org. I was already looking.
.org, not even a .com.
No, it's an organization of several bloggers about princesses.
So
I'm
you know
sure.
it's accurate.
The most recent article on the site is "Are Villains the New Disney Princess?"
Let's all just sink in. Let that sink in for a bit.
I'm letting it sink in.
Okay, well, you guys let that sink in. I'm going to read this review. Okay. Lisa Dawn of the Princess blog said, I am incredibly excited that Disney is sharing this lovely show with audiences all over the world free of charge. As a big fan of the 2010 animated film, it is a pleasure to see it brought to life on stage. Created exclusively for Disney Cruise Lines, Tangled the Musical is a 1-hour retelling of the movie with a few additional songs from creative genius Alan Menken. The sets, costumes, and performances are a lovely... This woman writes like a princess. Are a lovely tribute to the classic movie. I especially liked that they went in a new direction with Rapunzel's costume. Instead of recreating the purple dress from the film like they do at the Disney parks, they gave her a more period-accurate pink dress that fades to purple at the bottom of the skirt with pink swirling patterns. This new direction on the character's design made the show feel more like a timeless retelling of the Rapunzel fairy tale.
I'm sorry. What are
dying
you
over
talking
here.
about? What are you talking about here?
Well,
The dress being a different color made it a timeless retelling.
This is why we need more female critics. Brie Larson was right.
She is.
She was right. I don't know if this is what she was talking about, though.
This is what I want. I swear to God, if Joker was all about like the period accurate costumes of like how Gotham City might have looked in the 70s, I am down for that.
We know what
Give
Gotham
me
City
my
looked like in the
Princess Blog's
70s. You can
review
go
of
watch
Joker, please.
freaking 70s movies in New York, like Godspell.
That's exactly what I think of when I think of 70s movies in New York. Godspell.
Godspell is literally just Joker, but in the 70s. Think
Bree,
about it.
there's more review to go.
The show includes just enough of the main story elements for people to enjoy, whether they have seen the film or not, and the shorter length eliminates the pacing issues the Disney on-Broadway shows tend to have.
I agree with her in every account. She is a good writer, and I want her to review every movie forever.
Fair enough.
That was just a pleasant thing to read, you know? We're used to snarky New York Times reviews that make no goddamn sense. I understood every sentence of that one.
Of course, it was written by a princess.
Yeah, I mean, it is better than like a Ben Brantley review where he just talks about how his back was sore that day and he hated it.
Like, he doesn't even mention the show. He will just mention something separate, and that will be his review.
I had a hamburger outside of where I was watching it, and it was really just nice to get outside and have a hamburger for once.
And then an entire show closes because of that review. Ben Brantley, the careers are on the line, and that's what you wrote.
Oh, well.
New York is a fucking mess. But speaking of a fucking mess, how about we go into a mid-show announcement and then come back and talk about songs?
Yeah! Let's do that.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of the show, but we've got a shill at you.
Jess with the
Today's
shill
show
voice.
is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Andrew, what's Patreon and who is donating to us?
Right, everyone knows what Patreon is. My goodness. You can go and donate to us, and we have commentaries, and we have another podcast that we do. We gotta put out a Gallivant thing, speaking of Tangled.
That's
here.
on you.
Yeah.
That's on you.
We're gonna get that out. Do you want to read the patrons this week, Jess?
Yeah, I guess I can. Our current patrons are Melissa Goldman, Terry Needleman, John Donna, Leighton Ackles, Daniel Renix, Jess the Stampede, Ewan Cassidy, Taskier, Fire September, Monica Throw, Mina Maniri, Brent Black, Haley Murray, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacey Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Carrie Ahern, Christine Malmedel, Mary Lou Choquette, John Vanales, Heck You, I Go By Elijah Now, Russ Walker, Musical Hell, Emily Gracie, Andrew Van Barson, Double M, Kyle Summers, Jen A.C., Christina Francis, Scoot and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, Liz Lynn, Corey Wilmarth, Allison Stellar, Nothing is Certain Except Beth and Taxes, John Vanals, Thespian, Ren Cohen, Wait in the Wings, Lady Malvolia, Spectacle Machine, Jacob Stroop, Rafael Martinez, Salaz, Robert Benjamin, Rachel T, Jessica T, Genevieve Hartnett, Cass, Jess Cass, Mitchell Young, Chai Teacup, Hayden Wilder, Katie McDonough, Genki Geist, Dacus, Timothy Keys, Jeffrey Machado, Jacques, Ten Van Ossen, Jesse Taylor, and R. Elliott. I'm pretty sure they're just changing their names now just to see if they can trip us up, and they are always going to be successful at that.
We can't even read them when we know what they're pronounced like. I mean...
I know, and then they just turn these, like, code names that I can't even understand.
What is this,
Cass? I can barely get Jessica.
Is this Cass Ace or A?
I don't know. But they give us money, and you know what? You can join them. You can see Joel's face right now. Right now, you could see what he's doing, and he could be doing backflips. In fact, oh my God, he's swinging from the ceiling. Joel, get down from there. If you're only listening to this on the podcast, like, you're missing out on the amazing dance moves he's doing right now. Really, really. You're missing out. Oh my God. Oh, you're so wacky.
All right. You ready to talk about some...
Even Joel thinks you should join our Patreon. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I got him to say
Support
it.
a great show.
Got him to say it.
Jess, you gotta stop doing that.
No, it is my favorite bit, and I'm gonna stick with it.
One of these times they're gonna be like, yeah, no.
And you know what? That'll be even funnier when they do it, so it's worth it. All right, let's get back to the show.
Up they shoveled it and, with flour in hand, back they rode to the desperate king.
The sages brewed the leaves in a tea, and instantly cured her highness of everything.
And on that very same morn, a sweet princess was born.
And her hair was a sight to behold.
Like a flower of gold.
Flower of gold.
Flower of gold.
And their joy was rare. But guess who was there? Hiding in the nursery that night to make use of the light shining bright in the princess's hair.
Gleam and glow
So what do we think about the Flower of Gold like theme that goes throughout it? The flower gleaming gold, that one. Because it's not only just like a piece of music as well as like a diegetic song within the world, it's a theme within like all the music cues. It is basically the heart and soul of this show, and I think it's so well used in the movie and very well used in this version too.
I mean, yeah, it's certainly good. I mean, it's kind of like the theme for Rapunzel in a way, as well as representing like just magic in general.
I'm gonna fight you. That's a theme for her hair. Her theme is When Will My Life Begin. It's the theme for like her hair, if that makes sense.
Is her hair not a part of her? Am I mistaken?
I would not say so, because it kind of is. I would say it's a synecdoche. Like it is like a bigger representation of like her mother's abuse. I feel like just the growth of that is like her trauma when she finally sheds that. Now I'm getting into like literary analysis bullshit. But
yeah, go jerk off somewhere else.
It is a separate
Jess.
entity. No, I will do it on podcast like I always do. What do you think, Joel?
I mean, well, I do agree. You're onto something with the hair, because she doesn't.
It's got some.
Yeah, Andrew.
You just made me think though. Like in the movie, it's a tool that she can use, and then when this baggage that's been given to her, no longer serves her, like it goes away. She cuts it.
She like becomes a new character when it's gone too, in a good way.
Yeah. She moves on from her abuser. I like that the way that song functions, kind of for the movie especially, makes it even stronger of a cohesive musical, because like a lot of the Disney Renaissance movies would have that part when, or even Frozen too, like the last song in Frozen is the trolls talking about getting together, and I always kind of want that last like reprise at the end instead of just this climactic action sequence and no more songs. But here, like the climax like features a song. It's all about that song. So I think it really brings everything together, including in the Cruise musical.
I completely agree there. And you brought up that Frozen thing where it like has the biggest slam dunk of an idea for like a reprise that is set up. Like, why don't they sing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" at the end? It's like so perfectly teed up with like the opening and all that. And they're like, this movie needs to wrap on up. And then Frozen 2, almost like an apology, they do a little bit of that. And Frozen 2 is just that movie's yikes.
Frozen 2 is all over the place. They have no idea what they wanted to do with that.
That needs to be a Cruise Line musical so they can fix all that show's
I'd love to
problems.
see them do that. Like also another like story with like it's a little messy, but it's trying to get at some emotions in a Disney context.
I've watched Frozen 2 twice. I still don't know what the plot is. How does a child know what the plot of that movie is?
Jess, it's about colonialism or something, like maybe vague
Or
references
something. The
to
or
it.
something is really big.
Yeah, the or something
goes
is a very large aspect of it, yeah.
Olaf's
writes-
having existential crises.
See, that makes sense, but like riding a water horse that came out of nowhere into a hole where you see like your grandfather did some murders, and then you're like, well, I guess I'm trapped here in the sadness hole. And
I'm trapped in the
That makes sense to
colonialism
me.
hole,
What you
fellas.
just said, that was a great way of putting it. The sadness hole. You're trapped there.
trapped in the sadness
Hey,
hole.
Hans
and
is
then
there,
Kristen
too.
Bell. Oh my god.
Hans just shows up multiple times for no reason. Like he's just they really like Hans. They wanted him to be there.
Speaking of wanting him to be there, let's talk about one of the new songs, Wanted Man.
There's nobody who's bolder, nobody who's fine.
There's no one with a smolder half as good as mine.
Got a lot of weight, his trousers fit flies.
Hold that thought, girls. Got a split.
He's got the gleamiest teeth, the evenest tan.
Flynn Rider.
Wanted man.
A tracking horse? Really?
Get it! Nobody's ever got me.
Watch out when we do. Oh, the hanging man will shoot and a guillotine or two.
He's like the most sought after man alive.
But not for long once we are right. You're gonna pay for your crimes. At least that's the plan. Flynn Rider, wanted man. From space to one pole, as flat as a pan.
Flynn Rider, wanted
the valley. Oh, a tower. I can hide there till the storm dies down.
Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider. Flynn Rider. Wanted man.
I like what they did with the. I know you were talking about projections and not liking them, but I like the projection in this. I think it's funny having the wanted poster change. At least I think that's a projection.
I think it's like a partial projection. It's not just a screen background.
Oh no,
it's
and
calling that a set.
It's a partial projection for sure. I think that's funny. This song is very not memorable. It just kind of...
I think I'm just glad that he has his own song, because he didn't have that in the movie. He didn't really have his own moment, and I feel like we needed that. And yeah, we understand his character well enough, so I guess you don't need it, but I wanted it. I want more of that character and to dive into it and to set him up properly, the same way we set up Gothel and we set up Rapunzel. He is our third lead, and we kind of need to give him that importance. And this does that, surprisingly, even though being truncated by a good amount.
Yeah, I think it always struck me as a little weird in the movie when he is the one opening it, because it's not super his story, but as like sort of the normalist character bumping into extraordinary circumstances, I appreciate that. And yeah, it kind of frames him as, like you were saying earlier, the more palatable Gaston, because the song kind of like makes him more outsized than he is in the movie, like a bigger presence.
God, you saying that as him being like the outside most normal character. Like, what if Star Wars, instead of like the opening crawl, it's like Han Solo, like, let me tell you about this time I ran into this kid and I got a princess and now my son killed. What? It's been a week.
Wouldn't that just be like, that's like the Blade Runner thing where he just narrates and it sounds like he's on the phone?
Literally phoned it in.
Yeah. I mean, I'd watch that version of Star Wars. I have no shame on that.
And me and Rapunzel, we drove off into the sunsets. Her parents were nice, and I asked her to marry me.
You know what? After thousands of times of trying, I finally said yes. Eugene, fine. I did the ass.
Harrison Ford's given his all today.
That's how he acts. Like, have you seen Ender's Game? He barely showed up. He might as well have been in his pajamas in that movie.
He has this like really good reputation for being a great actor, but then everything he's in is like he just doesn't try.
Same with Bill Murray. They give off the same energy of
they
I'll
do,
try
but
when I care.
At least Bill Murray's trying to be funny with it, whereas like
his like comes around to something like avant-garde.
I don't know, the Blade Runner cut where he just talks is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Fun fact,
they ruined it.
My father prefers that cut. He's like, oh, that's one I grew up with, so that's what I like better.
I like it when they do the Tears of Rain scene and he just kind of talks about it afterwards.
I don't know why he said that, but I think he meant something by it.
Feels like he was trying to have some sort of emotion or something.
Me and her, we ran off into the sunset. I never found out if she was a replicant. It doesn't matter. Go home.
Go home. The movie's over.
Just him doing the Matthew Broderick. What are you still doing here? The picture's over. Go home.
Okay, now I'm wondering, do I just want Blade Runner with Matthew Broderick as Deckard?
No. You don't.
All right, we gotta move on. We've gone too far. I've Got a Dream, which I know is Andrew's favorite song in this entire show.
It's fantastic. It's just so fun.
I'm malicious, mean, and scary. My sneer could curdle dairy. And violence-wise, my hands are not the cleanest. I have one hand. But despite my evil look, and my temper, and my hook, I've always yearned to be a concert pianist. To see me on the stage performing Mozart, tickling the ivories till they gleam. Yup, I'd rather be called Deadly for my killer show tune medley. Thank you, cause way down deep inside I've got a dream.
He's got a dream. He's got a dream.
See, I ain't as cruel and vicious as I seem. Though I do like breaking femurs. You can fool me with the tumors. Like everybody else, I've got a la 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 la. Hey!
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about it.
How do you like its interpretation to stage? Because I've got some things to say there.
I feel like it's better in the movie, but I mean, that might just be because it's performed better. I don't really know.
Well, it's basically just slapstick and timing all that, and you can perfect that in animation where you're all human. You can't like move them around to be at the right time and kind of have the right kind of objects flying everywhere at the same time.
You can't actually play a piano with a hook.
I mean, it'd be cool if you could, though.
It'd be really cool if you could. Even Shrek thought so.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did Disney rip off Shrek?
Yes.
Wow.
Jess, they've been doing it since Shrek came out. Come on. Keep up.
Chicken Little, you're right.
It's really a case of the worm eating the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, the snake eating its own tail.
That's what the "Don't Tread on Me" like flag should be.
Don't steal my intellectual property. It's a
Mouse
snake.
ears.
It's a snake eating itself.
No, it's a snake in the shape of mouse ears.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I don't think anyone appreciates though for that. I don't remember. I mean, if he's a named character, the Brad Garrett pirate hook hand guy in the movie, but that's a high degree of difficulty. Like a concert pianist, yes, go for it, but with a hook, yeah, very impressive.
I mean, there's plenty of one-handed piano players. Now that I'm thinking about it, they exist. They're not like perfect, but they're better than me.
You can really only be so good if you have a hook, though, because you can't play chords with your left hand, and that's like what the left hand does.
What if you turn the hook into like 3 sticks, and then you can just always hit the right chords?
Well, no, because you'd always hit the wrong chords too.
What if you just know your like song range that I can play at least these 5 songs within these like keys because I have my finger digits in those positions.
Oh geez, what are you, a piano player now? Like
Oh
yeah, I can play these 5 songs.
I know my 5 chords and I know how they go, kind of.
Doesn't at the end he is a concert pianist though?
Yes, he is. He had a dream and he got it.
Yeah, they really make a good point about like making sure everyone's dreams are coming true.
This is what dreams are made of. Hey now, hey now. Let's take a look at what we got. Mother Knows Best as just a number is great, but I think that the woman that does it in this production is very good. This is one of the few songs I think is as good as the one in the film, and that's a really high bar to meet.
Mother knows best. Listen to your mother. It's a scary world out there. Mother knows best. One way or another, something will go wrong, I swear. Ruffians, thugs, poison ivy, quicksand, cannibals and snakes, the plague. Oh, yes. Also, large bugs, men with pointy sticks and stuff. The more you'll just upset me. Mother's right here. Mother will protect you. Darling, here's what I suggest. Skip the drama, stay with Mama. Mother knows best.
As well, I like all the reprises within the show. There's the usual dark reprise, then they've got one more in there, and I think all of them really sell the dark moments. And sell that as a villain song where I don't think the film did. I think that's one thing added here that I think is super effective.
Yeah.
Because you can't have the lizard killer in the end, so you gotta make her seem really, really evil so that when she just accidentally whoops herself out the window, you're not laughing.
Well, maybe you are a little bit.
Just a little bit, but you know what? You're drunk and your kids are having a good time, so laugh.
I think the only...
I appreciate...
Oh, no, go ahead. You got it.
I appreciated that with her. Like, I agree, she's great, and you know, like in the I've Got a Dream, like that choreography, it's animation, you can't like approximate the dynamism there, but I feel like she does a little bit with how cartoonish she's able to sort of, you know, move back and forth on different sides from Rapunzel and like do that quick change in tone from the really cutting and undermining to like the soothing, the changes that she makes. Like she really, I feel like she makes it look easy, and it's a challenging thing to do.
I agree. I also think that she is a good league older than a lot of the other performers on stage, probably a lot more experienced and much more adept at fine-tuning her stage presence and knowing like where she is and how to move, whereas a lot of them are just probably right out of like theater school trying to get like the next step, trying to make it with a Disney company. This is probably their right job right out of college, and just figuring it out and figuring out their own presence on stage outside of an academic environment. And I feel like she was the one that probably had the most experience just by the age and the character.
Yeah. I think if there's one more song we should talk about, is it When She Returns? Is that the last new song that we haven't discussed at all?
That is correct.
And her poor parents, how long they have wept for her, marking each birthday with joy and with tears, hoping she'll come for the crown they have kept for her all these years.
And this is why as her birthday draws nigh, we sing songs and lanterns and poets she'll come by.
And she'll join in a dance, and then maybe perchance she will sing how love she'll live when she returns.
I don't think I even remember this one really, but it was new, I
I'm gonna
guess.
see if Joel does, because I'm like,
I was thinking, I was like, wait, is that the one when they're in the kingdom and they're talking about the princess, or is that with the parents? I couldn't remember either.
I think it's
So does anyone
the one,
remember this song?
I think it's the one when they're in the kingdom, not the parents.
Okay,
though.
yeah. It's the village.
Yeah.
The
Village
townsfolk kind of having their moment of saying, like, here's what it's about, and we're really excited. She's coming back. They are hoping in vain, but it turns out not. Yeah, they're having just a good old day and saying that she's going to come back and it's going to be great. And weirdly, I mean, maybe it kind of helps with the foreshadowing so that Rapunzel can figure it out more clearly than sort of having just like the star or the sun moment looking at her paintings. But I'm just like, Rapunzel, you're a little dumb. Like, it's your birthday. They're all talking about this blonde-haired little baby.
I mean, it had to take a lot of things that were shown visually in the movie, like a montage and all that, and turn it into a moment of singing and all that. But when you spit this information out at someone, you're more likely to kind of take it in than if you're just kind of looking absentmindedly at stuff. So I get what you're saying, but I also get the situation they were in as writers, where it's like, this plot moment needs to happen, but we can't really do it on stage that easily.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna reverse course entirely. It completely fits, because if her journey's like all about not having confidence in herself and her capabilities, and she doesn't trust herself, of course you wouldn't think that like she's the princess they're all talking about.
Yeah, it's all about self-confidence and self-image, which she had very little because she was gaslit from the day she was basically a baby, not born because she had a good parents that she was born.
What if she just doesn't know how humans communicate properly, so when people tell her things straight, she doesn't understand it?
Are you lying to me? Are you about to take this back? You're saying I'm pretty, but are you gonna be like making fun of me?
Yeah, like, I mean, she's only ever talked to one person who is like constantly
now two.
saying things and then backing off, and then saying things and then backing off. Yeah, but the other person also lied to her all the time.
Oh yeah, she's surrounded by gaslighting jerks, and then a chameleon. She doesn't even get her chameleon.
She's
got
pretty
nothing.
well adjusted for all the crap she's had to deal with. I mean, we're lucky. She's lucky that she is where she is.
She's lucky she's able to speak English.
I will say that is stuff that is touched on in the TV show a lot, where she's like got a lot of returning community, and her naivete is like used against her a lot, and she kind of has to learn to be a functioning human as well as royalty, where she's like, I'm just trapped again in a different way. I'm trapped in a castle now, but I'm still like locked in a tower because y'all are too paranoid to let me go out again, because last time I did, I got kidnapped for 18 years.
Oops.
Oh no. Yeah, this I can see being the result if you have a story that's dealing with like complicated human emotions. It doesn't just end up happily ever after. You're gonna have to keep dealing with them.
Yeah, and I don't think that Eugene is emotionally available enough to be the guy to help her through it at all.
Man, this is just like that movie with Brie Larson. Broom.
No, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh.
It is a lot like that. Either way, what is everyone's opinions on Tangled, the Disney Cruise experience, and your cheese rating? I'm going to have Andrew go first so you can kind of get a vibe for how the cheese ratings go.
Okay, yeah, so it's not bad. I guess I can't, like, not recommend it because it's only an hour long and it's on YouTube for free. So, like, not recommending it is kind of a weird thing to do. So, yeah, I mean, I'd probably watch the movie first, though, because I bet you a lot of people haven't even seen the movie. You should watch the movie, but then watch this. You know, I think that's a good order.
Yeah, I think that's a good excuse, I guess.
Yeah.
What's your cheese rating?
Yeah, cheese rating, my cheese rating is going to be, like, inexpensive mac and cheese, you know, like it's not as good as like real like homemade mac and cheese, but it's like, you know, it's fine, you can eat it.
Yeah, it's a princess shaped, Andrew.
Oh yeah, it's like little crowns. Yeah,
Oh.
we could go with that, we can roll with that.
10 out of 10. All right, Joel, you're up next.
I think I'd go the reverse. I would say maybe watch this first, and then if it's been a while since you've seen Tangled, because then maybe you'll be itching a little more for the really hot. I mean,
What if they've never seen
you'll be
the
itching
movie?
for the voice acting. Ooh. Then just watch the movie and you know, maybe wait a couple of years, then watch the Disney Cruise Line musical, or watch the show. Then sounds like the show's pretty good.
Yeah, the show is a good lot of fun. Like if you want to kind of revisit this before diving into the show, this is a good like hour long like chunk to kind of wet your whistle.
The abridged movie, so you can get back into the show real quick.
Yeah, it's a good refresher.
What's your cheese rating, Joel? What cheese would you give this?
Well, I really wanted to bring the heat. Is heat the right word? The cheese knowledge, and I was a little bit nervous because I am lactose intolerant. So I was like, I gotta do this. Really put my research in. So I went to the market and found some naturally lactose free cheeses, some of which exist.
Nice. I like the effort.
And there was, yeah. Well, I was like, I don't just want to be Gouda. I want to be feta. Like good and better.
I get
All
it.
right.
Okay. You know what? Never mind. I'm taking back the effort thing. Like you know.
Okay, so there was one. It's the Bruja Comtes. I'm not.
How's that spelled? Is this a German or no, a Belgian cheese? Okay.
Brugge.
UGG.
Bruja, and then I think Comtesse. It's got like a fruity smell to it and taste, and maybe like some herbs. So I was like, okay, it's kind of like frothy and light, but there's like, you know, just enough substance that you could have a good time.
I agree. That's a great answer. I mean, I love it when the guests bring the cheese knowledge because we're at 140 episodes. Of
We've
this.
run out of cheese.
We've run out of enthusiasm for the cheese, so I love it when they just bring this like love of the cheese rating because the novelty's worn off for us. But
it was a great experience. I mean, I wouldn't have been pushed to, you know, I don't seek out a lot of cheese in my lactose-free life, so I was happy to be able to like, hey, I'm having cheese, and this is good cheese. What a delight.
That's great. I'm lactose intolerant too. This is a fun show, and I just ignore it. Honestly, I just keep eating cheese because I'm a glutton for danger.
You're doing what you have to for your art.
Exactly. Bree, what'd you think of our discussion and your cheese rating of that?
Well, Joel's cheese rating kind of blew it out of the water, and I'm a little embarrassed now because typically I put in like 5 minutes of research and I come up with a really good cheese, and now my 5 minutes of research is worth nothing.
Oh no!
But I really enjoyed your guys' discussion. I enjoyed Tangled the movie a lot. Who just chuckled?
It was me.
Why are you chuckling at me?
You're a real princess.
Oh my god.
You should go onto your princess blog and write a review of how much you liked it.
Jess, the sexist. My goodness.
For real. This is rude.
Unbelievable.
Okay. I'm gonna continue my cheese
Unbelievable,
rating.
Jess.
Was that sexist?
You are canceled.
You call me a princess. You only let me talk when it's somebody else's. You keep me locked up in a castle.
Cancel.
You know,
Brianna, did you
Anyway.
identify with that song? Is he telling you? Listen to Jess. Jess is always right. Jess knows best.
I don't know. Jess, are you always right? I edit this show. I know if you're always
Yeah,
right.
you know if I'm all... You make decisions for me. I don't make just choices for the show anymore. I don't decide
I'm
what's
just
on the
gonna
show anymore.
I'm gonna leave every time you're wrong in the podcast.
You do
from
that
now on.
anyways, because anytime I talk, I'm usually wrong.
Okay, back to my cheese rating here.
True. He admits
Okay.
it.
Well, so he went and called me a princess, and I was gonna be like, well, everybody needs a Flynn. So now I just feel really fucking stupid. But anyway,
If only there was
I-
someone who loved you. It turns out I was Hans all along.
I'm gonna die.
Anyway,
You're one of the
I
troll
picked-
creatures from Frozen.
Jesse, shut up.
now
Let me get
frozen.
to this. I don't even want to say it anymore. Anyway, it's stacked cheese. It's a piece of artwork, and it's from Pat Flynn. I'm done.
That's a great cheese rating. That was wonderful.
Fuck you.
Jeez. That really went off the rails.
You know, I expect Andrew to get that heated up over me. I've never had you get that angry at me before. That was wonderful.
Jess,
I'm not angry. I've had 2 sips of a Blake cider.
Oh, yeah, that explains
was
it
that
all.
good cider?
Okay.
I like cider a lot.
Blake's is wonderful.
Ooh.
Blake's is wonderful. This is not. This tastes like medicine. Don't try
yeah.
it.
I have some Blake cider sitting off for after I'm done because I don't drink on podcasts anymore for obvious reasons. But I enjoyed
He
this.
spills it on himself. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Okay, your cheese rating. Goodbye.
You should talk more. You're ruthless when you talk. I like this. It was fun. It was an hour long. It was easily digestible, like good fun. My cheese rating is actually going to be Rapunzel's cheese sticks, which is like a
What?
party gift that that they make on Pinterest, where you can like take cheese and make it like these long sticks.
Is
and
it
kinda
full of
looks like
hair?
No, it's like a bunch of bright yellow sticks where if you line them up, it kind of looks like hair.
Okay.
So that's my cheese rating.
Hair. How
Do you have
appetizing.
the Pinterest link? I would like to see it.
I would like to see.
I googled it. All I got was a lot of fried cheese sticks, which look great.
I will tell you, this does not look good. I do not think this looks deliciousable at all.
So why did you pick this then?
No, it's Rapunzel's.
The hell?
Rapunzel's cheese straws is the official name.
Jess, this is
Are you gonna let everyone see this?
Jess, this is terrible. Why?
Who, me? Here, hold on. I would not touch this if I was at a party.
It doesn't look
saying.
It was
edible.
a kid's. I'm curious as to what it tastes like. It like struck me as like, what is that? Look at that. Look at that. It looks.
That
Joel's
little
face.
cutout's doing a lot of work. The cutout of like the frame from the movie to like bring the theme together.
Why is this? They look like potato sticks.
They do.
They do look like potato.
You know what? It would have probably been more deliciousable if it was potato sticks.
Probably
All right, we're gonna wrap
you
this
know
up.
what? That was a lot of fun. Joel, it was a joy to have you on. I know this episode seemed chaotic, because it was. I hope you'll come back on for a more like level episode. Please promote all your stuff for the world. I know you got a ton of it, and our fans want to look at your stuff. Let's go. Bring it on us.
Yeah, well, I had a ton of fun too, and if you want to hear more about unhinged musical ramblings, my podcast all about the movie Cats 2019 is called Ineffable, a Cats movie podcast. My cat is my co-host. And you can also find me on D&D, which is on Spotify, and it's a comedy, improv, fantasy, adventure story all about food. And you can find me on Twitter at Joel K. Arnold.
It's great. I highly recommend it.
I'm very
go...
curious with the Cats podcast. Is it like frame by frame or something? Like, how are you doing this?
It's not quite there yet. Sort of, I'm tackling like topics like the Tom Hooper of it all, the angle of Cats as Oscar bait, which was once its hope. And then I think maybe a direction I want to go in is like one episode, it's just on a song. It's just Rum Tum Tugger's song.
The Cats movie was lucky if a guy named Oscar watched the whole thing. I mean, my God.
I saw that movie twice in theaters, and there was not a single person that stayed the entire time that wasn't in my group.
Did you have a good time?
I loved it both times, but the thing is, I was very, very drunk the first time I saw it, that when I got home, I'm like, did I see what I thought I saw? I gotta see that again to make sure I saw what I thought I saw. And I did, if you'd believe it.
I watched it on...
I think that's a lot of people's sober reactions too.
I watched it on Christmas Eve by myself in an empty
For
theater.
the podcast.
You want to talk about miserable experiences? My God.
Literally no one else in your theater?
There was like 2 people there, and they left like halfway through.
Yeah, Cats is a great thing in theaters, just to watch other people. Like, you don't even watch the movie at a certain point. You're just watching other people. I remember...
Yeah, I kind of hope like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like one group was in front of me, and they made it through all the way to Jennifer Hudson singing Memory, stood up and clapped when it got to the touch me like part, and then just left.
They're like, all right, that was...
They're so close at that point.
That's all we had to say.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you dedicated that much.
Honestly, though,
They said, Judi Dench looking into camera, talking to me for 5 minutes, and I will not.
No, they made the right choice, though. The ending of that movie is the worst part. It just doesn't. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. It's just like, yeah, here it. Cats. You got it. Okay. Yeah. One more time though. Here we go. We're gonna do it again.
A cat.
It's like a too long. Like what did we do in like a 5-paragraph essay in high school? It's like that last paragraph where you just restate everything, but you go on too long.
We have like 5 conclusion paragraphs where it's like, yeah. In conclusion, a
cat's not a dog, and like the teacher's like red pen, like no one.
Well, wait,
said
you didn't hear me yet, though. I didn't finish. Also, multiple names.
No. The thing is, the thing about that specific Cat's ending is, it's like, you would say that maybe a cat is not a dog. Period. I agree that a cat is not a dog, and that's how you do every sentence.
Okay.
That's
Okay, Joel, you are a wonderful, wonderful guest. If there's any musical you ever want to cover in the future, you are always welcome here. Also, you guys, you can follow us on Twitter. We're there at Cheesy Musicals. On Patreon, we did an ad for that in the middle. You should know all about it. We have a bunch of other cool shit. We have a Instagram, Musicals with Cheese, YouTube page, Musicals with Cheese, Patreon only podcast, Gallivant with Cheese. Maybe we'll do the Tangled series after that. I feel like that would be a really good Patreon show that Andrew might actually enjoy watching. Email us at musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Go follow her on Instagram at Jolene Casco. Our keeper of the cheese is Juliet Antonio. Thank you, Juliet, for keeping that up. We really appreciate you tracking all our cheese ratings and making sure that we're not repeating ourselves too much. This show is produced by the gorgeous, the incredible, the slightly touchy today, Brianna Jones. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network for having us on the platform and for not taking us out to the firing squad and shooting us like Old Yeller. It's going to happen one day, but it hasn't happened yet. All right, you guys, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Jess is canceled.
I've been canceled 5 times this episode.
Jess is actually canceled. His Twitter account is gone.
Yeah, I cannot log into my Twitter account, probably forever. That's fun. Joel, is there anything else you want to say?
I mean, yeah, just Maximus, I don't know. I feel like he'd give you a stern look right now. Just a frown, eyebrows going down,
He'd
Jess.
smack you in the back of the head with a frying pan.
And I'd have it coming. All right, on that note, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese. And at last I see the light. Na 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 na. And at last
Andrew, your turn.
I see the light.
All right, Joel.
I've got a dream. I've got a dream.
I got a dream.
I got a dream.